We have a lot to cover here since the episode has on-island flashbacks as well as treks in the present. Let's begin a little bit off the island.
I can't wait to find out where there is.
Dr. Burke, want to have a seat? I'd like to take some of your vitals, if that's okay with you.
I've always found this airport quite interesting. This is a fictional airport, and by the looks of it, it is quite small. I think that Juliet flew to this place from Miami. This might have been a secluded Dharma-operated airport on a small island in the Pacific that had a large dock that would ferry stuff to the island, and the dock also had the submarine, and now it's taken over by the others. This is also brought up in the official Lost podcast.
Since it would be odd to travel with a submarine from Miami to somewhere in the Pacific, is it reasonable to believe that Juliet traveled by plane to another Middle-Earth base in the Pacific, and that the submarine was docked there within a day's submarine journey to the island?
That's not a bad theory.
Interesting.
Because I highly doubt that they used the submarine to travel to New York, Los Angeles and all the other places, but likely used this place, Herarat Aviation, as a pit stop. After all, Herarat is an anagram for Earhart, another clue that this place is missing.
You want me to drink it?
Oh, yes. You're going to want to be asleep for the trip, Dr. Burke.
It can be kind of intense.
I'm also quite curious on why the sub ride to the island is so bumpy. Submarines travel very slowly, so maybe it's something akin to what we see in Season 5, that the others have knowledge of various windows and going through those windows to the island are quite bumpy. Look at what happened when Agera Flight 316 went through the window. It turned the plane upside down in a massive turbulence and the plane wound up during the middle of the day to the island. For the submarine, it would at least explain how quickly it takes for them to use it, if they travel through the same types of windows like the Agera flight did. Juliet takes the sub with some additional others and docks over here. There's been some inconsistency of what date Juliet arrived on the island. By her calculation, in episode 7 she arrived there on September 5th, but what she tells Goodwin, it is really September 21st, 2001. To me it doesn't matter, but Lostpedia settled on September 21st. If no one else left the sub, then that means 5 people were on the journey. Juliet, Richard, Ethan, and these 2 others. One of them, the one that the fan community thought looked like Michael, has been seen amongst the others before. He is played by Terence Zorn, and 3 years after he will be present as part of the security team on Hydra Island as well as in the barracks.
Not leaving you. Get down! Get down! Get it down! Hurt her! Don't hurt her! Step back, Doc.
The other guy, who I don't know the name of, has been here for a long time since he was also spotted heading towards Jacob, meaning that he's a loyal other who have been there for at least since 2001, and he was also spotted at the decoy village, the Pava ferry dock, and so on, and helped out the others bringing Colleen on the stretcher from the sub. That's a fun coincidence since he's been on 2 submarine expeditions, one in 2001 and one in 2004. Which tells me that he might be the commanding officer or the helmsman of the Galaga, with Terence Zorn as his assistant. The Galaga, which is named of the sub, is named after a video game. I know they're just extras, but I think it's important to mention them since not everyone are allowed to leave the island, meaning that they are trusted and loyal members of the others, possibly have been on the island for years. Now back to the show.
Hello, Dr. Burke. My name is Benjamin Linus.
Ben greets her. We learn in The Other Woman that she has been on the island for a week, and then at the end of her therapy session, Ben gives her her house, the one she'll be staying in at for the next 3 years. So why wasn't she given a house at first? And where did she sleep for a week? Well, we don't know. It could be that the rest of the group wanted to feel more comfortable before they got her a house, or it could be that someone else lived there and had 1 week to relocate to an empty house, to the temple, or to man one of the Dharma stations. Or maybe it was someone who was moving out of the island and had to wait a week because the sub wasn't supposed to leave until then. Endless possibilities. So maybe Juliet had a temporary bed, perhaps over here in the research laboratory, the place we will see in the episode The Other Woman, or she stayed at the staff. If you watched my video about maternity leave, I mentioned that there were hospital beds there, and they could have used the nursery as a temporary bedroom for Juliet, or one of the hospital beds. It's not a pleasant place, so that explains how overjoyed Juliet is for her new accommodation. Her next flashbacks is several months later, so in between that time she's gotten to know a lot of people. Back in Miami, she met Richard. Richard, however, did not tell her what he knows about her, that she will be in the island's past.
I watched them all die.
The fact that he knows this, knowing that she will likely perish during the incident while recruiting her, is quite mind-blowing. And it makes this dialogue quite eerie.
Richard Alpert.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you for letting us borrow your sister for a few months.
Just promise me you'll bring her back in one piece.
Well, we'll do our best.
Juliet will also encounter a lot of other people, but never Jacob. She will befriend Goodwin. She starts an adulterous affair with him. Another thing is that she gets lessons and learns Latin, the other's secret language.
Cognos quitus qui sumus.
What language is that?
Speaking Latin. That one asked why we aren't in uniform, and this one told him to shut up.
And how is it that they know how to speak Latin, Julia?
The same reason I do. Because they're others.
She was destined to speak that language since, I believe, young Widmore told Richard about the group he met, including a blonde woman who knew their secret language. Since she spoke it in the past, she's destined to learn it on the island. I'm also fairly certain that she got combat training too. The others are quite good at that, and seeing as they have stuff like therapy sessions, they might as well have some combat training. This could have been one of the several times Juliet has dislocated her shoulder. In an off-screen scene, Mikhail acquires documents from the hospital in Miami, likely one of their many off-island connections. He hands them over to Ben. It's about Rachel. Or, another popular theory is that the documents are fabricated and Rachel never got her cancer back. We've now come to March 2002. It's been 6 months. Juliet and a group of others go to the staff. They try to save Sabine's life, but she dies. Goodwin goes back to the barracks to talk to Ben. Juliet goes southwards through the golf course valley and then comes down to the Love Rock area. Not sure how Ben knew she would be there, but my deduction is that Juliet has, for the past months, just walked down there to be by herself, and Ben went there. Maybe this is a calming spot for her. When pregnant woman has died, she's here.
You've done extensive workups on all of us. Have you seen even a trace of cancer?
That's here. And being that you won't let me bring my sister here, I'm gonna
Jacob
need
said he
more.
would take care of it himself. Unless, of course, you don't have faith in him.
The mention of Jacob and trust and the various mentions about the island being special is quite fascinating and sparked the imaginations of so many Lost fans. The belief in Jacob is similar to the belief in religious figures. On the island, the others might believe in Jacob because they feel the presence of Jacob. Like many religious believers in different religions, they feel the presence of their God when they are in a church or a temple, like Allah in Islam or God in Christianity. Christians have seen God's glory, but they've never seen him face to face. The mystery of God is a theme that is rooted in Christian theology. The Bible is filled with accounts of the revelation of God breaking into human life. Moses hears the voice of God from a burning bush.
I am the God of thy father.
So in the Bible, God is both hidden and revealed, something I think Lost is inspired of. By now the show is building up Jacob as this godlike figure that can cure cancer, like Christians believe that God can do divine healing through the power of the Holy Spirit. When it comes to the island and the others community, we can look at a church. The Christian theologian Daniel Migliore states that there are various models of the church. One model of the church is that of an institution of salvation, where the church has a definite form and organization. The chain of power and authority is precisely determined. Another model of the church portrays it as an elite community of the spirit. Not much of an organization, but a closely knit community. I feel like the others are in between, but more closely to the second model. The church as intimate community of the spirit represents the sect type. Migliore argues that this model of the church are about people in modern societies that are lonely and scarred. They seek refuge in a community where they can feel at home. They are physically and spiritually broken. If the others are doing all of their activities for a higher purpose because of their belief in Jacob and the island.
Why do you need to be here?
Because Ben told us to. We were following orders.
And you never asked why?
No, because I trust him. And I trust Jacob. And the minute I start questioning orders, this whole thing, everything that we're doing here falls apart.
then their sect-like behavior makes sense. The show makes numerous examples of expressing the island as a character in itself, and you would certainly want to be healed or helped or being protected by the island.
What I know is that this island just might give you what you're looking for, but you have to give the island something. The island will send us a sign.
The island will send us a sign.
You need to speak to the island.
You can't kill yourself. The island won't let you.
What'd you say?
No matter how bad you want to, no matter how many different ways you try, it won't happen.
Ilana. There she was, handpicked by Jacob, trained to come and protect you candidates. No sooner does she tell you who you are than she blows up. The island was done with her.
The French sociologist Émile Durkheim argues that normal behavior is always determined from within the group, not from the outside, and uses the example of how polygamy is more normal in primitive societies than modern, or suicide is more normal in Japan than in European countries. A great example is the film Alakachu Take and Run, which was nominated for an Oscar for Best Live Action Short, about a young student in Kyrgyzstan who is suddenly kidnapped and brought to the hinterland. There she is forced to marry a stranger. If she refuses the marriage, she is threatened with social stigmatization and exclusion. The fascinating thing is that for these people in this village, this is all normal. It's tradition. They know that it's frightening and uncomfortable at first, but as soon as you've married to this stranger, everything gets better. And a disturbing fact that this is still a thing.
I was kidnapped when I was 17. Прошло 25 лет, как этот кошмар со мной случился. Я стала жертвой Алакачу, который сломал мою судьбу, мою жизнь.
Juliet seems to believe in the island, that this really is a special place. She is also on board with the various and shocking activities that the others do, but she's not as religious, if you can call it that, as many other people in this community. People that are willing to die for the island. But she knows that what her group does is considered wrong to outsiders, as emphasized at the beginning and at the end of the episode.
I want to know what you people are doing on this island. Why you're terrorizing us, making lists, kidnapping children. I want to know everything.
I know you want me to go there. But after everything we've done to them, it's going to be a problem.
But to me that illustrates the complexities of her character, the multiple meanings of the episode's title, One of Us. Let's get back to the scene.
Every woman on this island needs you. If you choose to stay, I promise you, we will save Rachel's life.
During her time on the island, she's learned about the various Dharma stations, and at some point has visited the Tempest. There's a lot of additional scenes we'll explore next season, in the episode The Other Woman. And now we've come to 2004. In an off-screen scene, Ben tells Juliet about some back pains, so he is x-rayed somewhere. Maybe at the staff or the Hydra, and then Carl develops the x-rays later on. Goodwin is at Juliet's house. Carl arrives at this house with x-rays of Ben. She marches to Ben's house.
You said no one on this island ever had cancer. You told me that.
I know what I told you,
You told
Juliet.
me you could fix it. You said that. You said that you cured my sister. You lied to me.
No, I did not lie to you.
If you can cure cancer, Ben, then why do you have it?
I don't know.
It is September 22nd, 2004. Juliet arranges her book club. Even though Ben knows that it is Carrie and that is on the schedule, she arranges her book club meeting without inviting him. Ethan comes by to fix the plumbing, then Amelia shows up. When season 3 premiered, there was a popular fan theory that this was Amelia Earhart, and that the Lost was combining the real-life event of her plane disappearing over the Pacific Ocean. That would make Amelia, in this scene, 107 years old, or it could just be a reference. Another theory I really like is that Amelia is Amy, Ethan's mother. That would make this banter even funnier.
Still hasn't fixed your plumbing yet?
It's a work in progress.
Like a mom telling that to her son. And that maybe Amy and Horace had a falling out and she decided to join the others with her kid Ethan. Lost loves its juxtapositions, showing how characters change over time, and the way she's so anti-hostiles and now part of the others makes for an interesting character development.
I can't sleep with one eye open. We have a baby now. We have to think about Ethan.
Say anything. It's just complicated. Okay?
Complicated doesn't make you cry.
I burned my hand.
That doesn't make you cry either. What happened, Julie?
In a mobisode, we see that Juliet is about to show her the X-ray, and then the rest of the book club comes, before the plane splits apart.
I was looking for you this morning. You and I need to talk.
Now?
We have some time. It's important.
Ben and Juliet travel from the barracks and to the flame.
Did you see it?
A plane fell out of the sky, Mikhail. Of course we saw it. What do you have so far?
Oceanic Flight 815. Left Sydney, Australia, headed for Los Angeles. 324 people on board, including the flight crew.
After they've been there, they return to the barracks and then send a few others to the tail section crash site to abduct the strongest men. Let's move on to the present. In the previous episode, the group went in this direction after leaving the barracks. Juliet will arrive at the sonic fence and then turn it off. It won't be turned on because the next time we're here, the fence is not turned on. This is confirmed in a deleted scene later on.
Maybe I can shut it off.
How might you do that?
I saw Juliet do it once.
Without the code?
Hey! I don't think it's on.
The group is trekking down south. They might have looked around a bit, but deduced that Danielle got away. I love these location shots. Finally something that isn't the standard Kualoa Ranch. This is filmed at Waialua Mauka Ranches on the North Shore, which gives me the deduction that they are heading on this side of the mountain range, just to illustrate that they don't take the same route back, taking this mountain pass. Arriving around here, they stop near a river and make a campfire.
It's getting late. This is a good place to make camp.
They continue trekking, going through this area, and then arrive at the beach camp. At night, they have an island meeting. I love this scene, by the way, since it's one of the few moments so late in the series where everyone gets to pitch in. Claire gets sick. Juliet explains what is happening to Kate and Jack. Jack sends her to retrieve the serum. Saeed and Sawyer follows her. Juliet arrives at this interesting tree. I wonder what this symbol is. Could the tree have been an ancient meeting point, used by a previous civilization before they had walkie-talkies? The symbol is ancient. It's a Delphic epsilon. This is an ancient Greek symbol associated with a human initiation into the light. For this reason, it was in the Temple of Apollo at Delphi, where the worship of the sun was performed. Nowadays, it's a very misunderstood symbol that some want to identify with secret groups and conspiracy theories, such as the UFO story about aliens from the planet Ummo were communicating with people on Earth using this symbol. However, it is originally from Greek history. This tree is in a valley, more precisely filmed at Hakipu Valley. I've placed the location here. Soy and Said arrives, but they let Juliet go back. She runs through the jungle and comes back to the beach with the serum. Shortly after, Claire gets better.
In that moment, I saw it in your eyes. You want to get off this island more than anything else in the world. It makes you one of us.
See you next week for the episode Catch 22.